Wausau, Wisconsin, right now, active ice storm warning in effect, and at the same time, a severe thunderstorm risk with large hail. On the same day, in the same state. That is not a forecast error. That is what happens when a massive clash of winter and spring air produces conditions so extreme that both seasons are happening simultaneously in the same location. There are not many places in the country where a meteorologist has to warn people about ice on the roads in the morning and then warn about hail from thunderstorms in the afternoon. Wausau and Green Bay are those places today. It is an extraordinary situation, and it underlines just how sharp and violent the boundary between winter and spring air is right now across the central United States. This is the setup we are dealing with today, and it extends far beyond Wisconsin. Let's start with what is already developing. The enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5, covers Chicago, Milwaukee, and Davenport, Iowa. This is not a broad, vague threat area. This is a concentrated zone with multiple confirmed atmospheric ingredients for dangerous storms. And the window for the worst of it is this afternoon into this evening. Here is the critical variable for today's outbreak potential. Everything hinges on what happens with the morning cloud cover and rainfall. If this morning's clouds and rain clear out fast enough, if the sun gets enough time to heat the surface air across Illinois and Iowa before the main storms arrive in the afternoon, then what develops between 3 and 5 o'clock near Davenport could be something significant. Long-track rotating supercells. Organized, violent tornadoes. The kind of event that people in that region will remember. If the morning clouds linger, if the rain holds on and keeps the surface cool, then the atmosphere doesn't fully destabilize, the supercells struggle to organize, and the tornado threat stays elevated but not catastrophic. This is a forecast that will make or break based on conditions that are unfolding right now in real time. Watch the sky this morning if you're in Iowa or Illinois. Watch whether the sun is breaking through. That is your leading indicator. But here is what does not depend on the morning clearing. The wind threat is certain. Widespread 60 to 80 mile per hour gusts are coming across this corridor, regardless of what happens with the cloud cover. That is the kind of wind that takes trampolines and throws them into trees. That is the kind of wind that brings down power lines and makes highway driving on exposed roads dangerous. The wind threat for Chicago, Milwaukee, and Davenport is not conditional. It is coming. And the hail. Quarter to ping-pong ball-sized hail is possible with the afternoon storms, again, regardless of the outbreak question. Property damage from hail in this zone today is a near certainty with the stronger cells. Now, the ice storm happening simultaneously in Wisconsin. Wausau, Green Bay. These areas are under active ice storm warnings right now, with up to ½ an inch of freezing rain expected. ½ an inch of ice on roads, on power lines, on tree branches. A ½ inch of ice is enough to make driving genuinely impossible in some areas, and enough to bring down trees that have been standing for decades. And the same system is potentially about to produce thunderstorms with large hail just to the south of those same areas. It is an extraordinary meteorological situation. Winter and spring in violent conflict directly over the same state. The snow totals on the northern edge of this system are also significant, more than 6 inches across parts of the upper Midwest. Minnesota and the upper peninsula of Michigan are going to be buried on the cold side of this pattern, while tornadoes are possible 300 miles to the south. Now let's move to phase 2. Because tomorrow, Friday, the threat does not diminish, it shifts. And in some respects, it becomes more organized. The severe tornado threat relocates to central and southern Iowa, northern Missouri, and western Illinois on Friday. The key feature driving Friday's setup is a warm frontal boundary lifting northward, with a surface low positioned near Omaha, Nebraska. Warm front tornadoes are among the most difficult to forecast and the most difficult to survive. They are typically rain-wrapped, they move fast, and they often occur in areas where visibility is already compromised by rain and low clouds. Kansas City, Des Moines. The corridor between them is Friday's most significant tornado risk zone. If you are in this corridor and receive a tornado warning Friday, take it seriously, regardless of what the sky looks like from your window. Warm front tornadoes have a specific reputation among meteorologists, and it is not a good one. These are tornadoes that form in environments where the visibility is already compromised before the storm even arrives. Rain, low clouds, fog. The tornado does not announce itself visually. There is no classic dark funnel visible from miles away. The warning comes through your phone, and then the storm is already close. Have your shelter location locked in before Friday morning, not after a warning sounds. At the same time, across the southern plains, Friday brings a different but equally dangerous severe weather day. The threat from Amarillo, Texas to the Oklahoma City metro and through Wichita Falls involves massive hail, baseball-sized, stones that are capable of destroying vehicle windshields, not just denting them, destroying them, punching through glass. If you are in North Texas or western Oklahoma on Friday, do not leave vehicles or anything fragile exposed outdoors. The window to act is now, not Friday afternoon. The tornado risk in Texas and Oklahoma on Friday is lower than the wind and hail risk, but it is not zero. Isolated tornadoes are possible alongside the giant hail and damaging winds. By Friday evening, those discrete supercells will begin to consolidate into a squall line, pushing east toward Little Rock, Arkansas. Embedded QLCS tornadoes become possible after dark as that line moves east. Then Saturday morning. The storm system has been tracking east through the night. By 8 in the morning, the squall line is producing widespread damaging winds from the Dallas-Fort Worth area eastward into Louisiana, Mississippi, and south of Nashville across Alabama. Shreveport will be inside the active window during the morning hours. This is not a minor trailing event. The wind threat along this line on Saturday morning covers a large swath of the deep south. And for people in Nashville, Memphis, and across Tennessee, the southern end of this system on Saturday brings a real severe weather threat. The track of the squall line as it pushes east puts central Tennessee and northern Alabama in a period of elevated concern Saturday morning into early afternoon. Damaging winds are the primary threat, but the possibility of embedded tornado activity within the line cannot be ruled out. This part of the country does not always receive the attention it deserves in regional severe weather coverage, but Saturday demands awareness across the Mid-South corridor. And for people further east, across Tennessee, Alabama, and into Mississippi, Saturday morning requires the same level of alertness as Thursday or Friday. The storm is not over just because it has moved past the plains. Sunday offers genuine relief for the Great Plains. If you're in Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Sunday is a beautiful day. The storm system has cleared. Skies return. Temperatures moderate. For those who have been on high alert for 2 or 3 straight days, Sunday is your reset. For the East Coast, Sunday carries a very low confidence possibility of some disorganized storm activity. It is not worth significant alarm, but it's worth keeping an eye on local weather alerts if you're in Virginia, Maryland, or the Mid-Atlantic. Before we close, I want to circle back to something I mentioned briefly at the start, because it captures the entire story of what this week's pattern represents. Wausau and Green Bay, Wisconsin. Ice storm warning and severe thunderstorm risk on the same day in the same state. This is the signature of a pattern operating at an extreme. When the atmosphere is this charged, when the temperature gradient between the winter air to the north and the spring air to the south is this sharp, the energy release is violent on both sides of the line. Tornadoes below it, blizzard and ice above it, and in the narrow zone directly on the boundary, both at once. The takeaway for today and the next several days is simple. Know which side of that line you're on. Know your threats. Have your shelter plan ready before the afternoon, not after. Here is your timeline. Today, Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa. Enhanced risk. Wind 60 to 80 miles per hour certain. Tornado outbreak possible if morning clearing occurs. Watch conditions from late morning. Davenport corridor most active from 3 to 5 p.m. Ice storm warnings active for Wausau and Green Bay simultaneously. Heavy snow across Minnesota and the Upper Peninsula. Friday, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas City corridor. Warm front tornado threat. Rain-wrapped, fast-moving, difficult to detect. Kansas City and Des Moines in the highest risk zone. Simultaneously, baseball-sized hail across North Texas and western Oklahoma. Dallas-Fort Worth and Wichita Falls on high alert for hail damage. Squall line pushing east toward Little Rock by Friday evening. Saturday morning, deep south. Squall line from Dallas-Fort Worth eastward through Louisiana, Mississippi, and south of Nashville. Shreveport in the active window. Damaging winds primary threat. Sunday, Great Plains, beautiful conditions. East Coast, very low probability of disorganized storm activity. Stay tuned to local alerts but no major concerns. Stay connected. Monitor forecast through Friday especially. We'll see you in the next update.